Hello, my name is Richard Corbett from emergebydesign.net, and welcome to my weekly astrological and human design transit report. This week, we're going to be taking a look at Monday, October 27th through Sunday, November 2nd. On Wednesday this week, we're going to have our first quarter moon in Aquarius conjunct Pluto. We've coming off that new moon in Libra a week ago, and she was also happy to have the ruler of Libra, Venus, in her home sign for that new moon. So, of course, this month we're going to be getting a symbolism of relationships, love, harmony, and how we're working with that in our relationships. So Chiron's involved and will be again this week. So we'll take some closer looks at how that's impacting this overall cycle. But yes, first quarter moon coming up. So a lot of emotional torque on the way. But before we jump into the charts for each day, I have three quick announcements. So thank you for that. First thing is, we had a number of open house calls for the High Desert Human Design Conference, which we will be organizing, Brandy Jordan and I, next September 2026. So if you haven't heard about this yet, I wanted to let you know that we are already forming councils and a list of facilitators, presenters, all of that is in the works already. So we just would love to invite you, if you feel called to teach a class, hold an embodiment space, or do a workshop. Please reach out to Brandy and I, and we'll get you set up with the right people. It's going to take a village to create this experience, but based on what we've done the last 5 years, I have to say we cannot wait already for this conference next year. It's one of the largest human design live gatherings on the planet, and we have amazing facilitators. It's such a transformational experience, and the people and the energy, it's just amazing. So yeah, if you haven't heard about that yet, please reach out to us if you'd like to participate, volunteer, or facilitate. We'd love to talk to you. Secondly, Brandy and I are teaching our planets course again starting on November 9th. Now, we only have a couple seats left, but I did want to mention it to you all. If you've been studying human design and have not yet taken a really deep dive into the planets and how they activate your chart, come join us. We're going to take a look at each planetary archetype, its full spectrum of consciousness, its full personal hero's journey that each planet has, and take all of that archetypal information into your chart, into the center, the astrological sign, the gate, the line. They are the imprinting agents that actively actually turn on the chart at our birth. And so we're going to help our students see how the mechanics of their body graph meet your own personal mythological journey. It's a fascinating experience together. The feedback we got from our last cohort was incredible. So we can't wait to do it again. So if you're interested, check out the planet's course at emergebydesign.net. And then lastly, on a personal note, I have been having some amazing transits to my chart these past 6 months. It has affected me in deeply profound personal ways, and it's really taken me back into my history, my personal journey. And it's really brought up a lot of experiences I have had with my mentors. I have been so fortunate in my 25 human design year career. I have had 3 mentors, and they have been invaluable to me. The support, the depth they brought to my understanding, the personal development that they were a catalyst for was life-changing. Well, I'm 5 years off the roof as a 6'2" emotional MG, and I'm feeling a call to a mentorship program. You know, for the last handful of years, about 5 years, I have only been teaching human design in the classroom environment because it's my calling. I love it. If you've been to one of my classes, you know how passionate I am about teaching, but I'm really craving and missing the one-on-one work. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, wherever you are in your journey, if you're a brand new beginner, I can talk all this language in plain English. If you're in the professional training analyst courses and preparing for your analyst exam, I teach all those courses. I can help you there. Or maybe you're just having some hard times in life and would like to reorient yourself to your map and where you're going. Let's talk about it. If any of this interests you, please reach out to me directly through a comment, email, or at our webpage. Let's set up a free 30-minute Zoom call so we can have a chat, see if there's something we might be able to work on together and build synergy in the direction of personal growth and development. Worst case scenario, we get to spend a little time together, get to know each other, and have some fun. Best case scenario, we decide that we're a good fit and we can work together. And we'll tailor make each of these mentor programs so they fit you and your budget. I'm not even listing this on my webpage. This is only going to be word of mouth. So thank you very much for letting me share those announcements. Now let's dive into the chart. Okay, so all of these charts, both the body graph and the astrological wheel, are set for noon Mountain Time for the date that they show, except for the lunations. So when we get to the first quarter moon, I will indicate what exact, that is the exact time of the first quarter moon. But for the other charts, we're at noon. In the astrological wheel, a reminder that I don't use the house system in these talks because that would change based on your location on the planet. So everything is set to 0 degrees Aries. I don't use houses in these presentations. All you have to do is change from noon Mountain Time to fit your time zone, and you'll be looking at the chart we're looking at right now. So to start out, we can see that on Monday, October 27th, the sun is in Gate 28 in Scorpio, which we can see in the body graph is located in the splenic awareness center. This is a splenic, instinctual, intuitive awareness to know in the moment what struggle is worthwhile in the pursuit of purpose in life. And you can really feel that Scorpio energy of the sun there in Gate 28. It's the gate of the risk taker, the game player. Scorpio, that fixed water, it's that ability to be acutely aware, even in the dark, to see the hidden truths. Now, that puts the Earth in its polarity opposition in Gate 27, which is the gate of caring in the sacral center. So the grounding energy of this tug-of-war polarity between the sun and earth can be found in our self-nourishment right now. And boy, I think as I move along through this week, let's go ahead and bring that to the forefront. Self-nourishing. These are very watery times, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But being, grounding ourselves in self-nourishing modalities right now, incredibly supportive. Now, staying with the body graph, we can also see that Venus, still in her home sign of Libra, is currently in Gate 57, which is bone deep, penetrating, acute awareness. And that's forming a channel with Uranus in retrograde in Gemini is still in Gate 20. So we're getting the channel of the brainwave. This is immediate, instantaneous, bone deep awareness. Now, because we have both the brainwave channel and the channel of struggle for Monday, and it's a fast-moving transit due to the moon in Gate 38, the gate of the fighter at the bottom in the root center, for this particular day, we have the entire stream of intuition. So there's an opportunity here to really tune into our bodies. Now, of course, everything I share here is the global transit. We're all experiencing this energy, but it's impacting us individually in different ways. And of course, if we end up working together, we can look at our charts and see where this may be hitting it for yourselves. But I just want to say that it's always about following our authority. Some of these transits I talk about, they may just pass right by your front door and you don't even notice it. But if you're feeling it, we really want to ground through self-nourishing modalities into our physical authority for decision making. But what's happening here on Monday is there is an awareness available. And part of the backdrop to that, I want to move to the next thing I want to point out about Monday, is this grand water trine and the astrological wheel. So if we go over to the astrological chart, you can see Saturn and Neptune are still very closely conjunct in Pisces. Neptune just retrograded back into Pisces, his sign of rulership, just a few days ago. So we have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and then we have that forming a trine to Mercury and Mars in the late degrees of Scorpio. And then from there, we can see that there's a trine down to Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. But if we just look at this, 5 planets in this grand trine formation, this is a lot of water. And so one of the main, and this is going to be in effect for quite some time. In fact, we're going to have a similar watery grand trine all the way through till the end of November. So that's still another 5 weeks of this watery grand trine. And so I really want to bring to the forefront the element of water, its yin quality, its relationship to our emotions. Sometimes it's a flat, tranquil, peaceful pond, and sometimes water can be a raging ocean. But it is definitely part of the air right now. So our emotions may be right up on the surface, right? We may be feeling a lot, right? But to remember that water moves, water flows, water brings us down into the earth. So there's something we can really tap into to this yin energy, this watery quality, a flow, a tranquility. So if you take all that watery element and lay that on top of the body graph transits, there is some really deep listening we can do right now. Probably would be a great time for meditation or journaling, spending some time in nature. But I'll be talking about that grand trine over there quite a bit over these next few weeks. And let's go ahead and move into Tuesday now. Tuesday, October 28th. Wow, look at the astrological wheel over there. We can see that the moon traveling through late degrees of Capricorn is exactly opposite Jupiter in gate 62. And both the moon and Jupiter are forming a T-square with Chiron and Aries at 24 degrees. And Chiron does not get an activation in the body graph, but he would be in gate 42, the gate of emotional growth and maturation, evolution, growth, and gate 42, line 4. So I mentioned that Chiron was going to be in the news this week, and he certainly is. This T-square is very dynamic. Whenever we're looking at square energy, we're thinking friction, obstruction. It's like fire. It's dynamic. It's asking for resolution or change. And so when we think about the moon in gate 61 in the head center, pressure center of inner truth, opposite and conjunct Pluto, let's not leave that out yet, only about 6 or 7 degrees from Pluto right here. So the moon at this moment is closing into a conjunction with Lord of the Underworld in gate 60 of limitations. They are both opposite Jupiter in exaltation in Cancer in gate 62. This is saying that there's a storyline here between the pressure of discovering our own inner truth and the details, the logical nature of details, all joined in to Chiron in gate 42, the gate of growth. So Jupiter expands, and Jupiter here is benefic, if you will. That's a word we often use with Jupiter, but very nourishing, a lot of emotional energy. And so these wounds from the past, as I mentioned, with all this watery energy, they might just come out. And this is going to be a really important day to be mindful of our emotional reactivity, right? There is tremendous support for healing right now, or forgiving, or moving past limitations, because I mentioned Pluto's tied up in this opposition here, in this pattern that I'm pointing out, and he's in his final weeks in gate 60, the gate of limitations. And so I think it's through, deep inner meditative, reflective work about the details and patterns of our life, our family, our relationships, being a Libra new moon, I mentioned, and how are we allowing these old layers, limitations, patterns that are no longer serving us, letting them go. Incredible T-square between Chiron, Moon, Pluto, Jupiter, juxtaposed against all this watery energy. I mean, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, they're all in Scorpio. There is energy to go really deep. I have found, again, being on the cross of healing is a lifelong journey. Sometimes we reach a spot and we're like, oh, I'm all done with that. And then something will come along and we'll be like triggered and like, whoa, I didn't know that was still, those feelings were still there. Well, we may be sort of in the washing machine of this right now, this week. And so again, the encouragement is that if you're having these emotional dysregulation or overstimulation or deep hurts, you're right on schedule. This is the transits right now. And so rather than react out of emotional pain, trauma, suffering, let's use this as an opportunity to be curious. Why do I still feel this way? Where is this coming from? Find that thread from the past and let's go back there. Let's take another look at where did these fear, doubts or insecurities, where did they originate from? And so, yeah, a lot of watery energy to dive in deep to the emotional um, well of our spirit right now. Now, as I say the word spirit, I can't help but think about Gate 25. Now, Saturn and Neptune were traveling together in Aries. They both went retrograde in the same week, and now they both have moved back into Pisces. Neptune just moved back into Pisces a couple of days ago, back into his sign of rulership, and they're still very close and considered conjunct. Saturn has already moved back to Gate 36. Saturn will turn forward on November 28th, but Saturn's in Gate 36, the gate of crisis right now. But I'm bringing up Neptune because Neptune is still in Gate 25, and in fact has gone backwards, retrograde, to Gate 25, line 2, and that's as far back as Neptune will go in terms of the line structure. And it's the anaretic degree of Pisces. And what I'm getting at is Neptune is really holding space right now in the spirit of the higher self. And I really feel like this is if we look at where can we go in this busy looking chart here to find the crucible, the crux, the fulcrum of the experience, it's happening in our Gate 25 in the G center, this gate of innocence. And when you think about Neptune and his rulership in Pisces and about water, all this water I'm talking about, Neptune brings a dissolving quality or flooding. It can wash away. It's part of that liminal world of Pisces, and we're really going to feel a lot of that. Sort of this, sometimes it might feel like a daze or a haze, or, we use the word veil sometimes. It is possibly a little hard to see clear, but Neptune brings a deep inner psychological transformation through putting us in this liminal world here in the gate of spirit. The gate of innocence speaks to the idea of life without preconditions. I mean, think about it. Most of the times that we become angry, anxiety-ridden, or emotionally reactive is because we have something we're holding on to. A pre-existing condition or pre-existing expectation. But Gate 25 says, release that, let it go. Meet each day with softness and innocence and curiosity, right? So there's a lot to contemplate there. In fact, I'm going to do a separate video in the next day or two just on the outer planet formation in this minor trine that they're forming. But I did want to highlight Neptune just to put your attention there in your own contemplations. Soon, Saturn will come back towards Neptune, and they're going to move into Aries together on February 21st, and I'll have more to share about that. But really wanted to speak to this grand water trine, the watery nature of the week we have ahead right now. And particularly, it's a bit of a spike with that moon at the end of Capricorn forming this kite formation opposite Jupiter. Yeah, just really want to sink into this liminal world. What am I feeling? Daily body scans this week, I think, would be really helpful so that we can, where are we at? If I'm feeling some dysregulation, let me sink into where that's coming from. All that Scorpio energy is helping us tie the threads together. Scorpio is the sign of the hidden truths, the shared resources, relationships. All of that is part of the mix right here. And it's going to be a very potent, powerful week to look into that well for each of us. Okay, so let's go into the first quarter moon on Wednesday, October 29th. We can see that overnight, since yesterday, the moon would have made her conjunction with Pluto in Gate 60. And as we come to Wednesday here, she's just beyond that conjunction exactly and separating, but still certainly in the mix. And at the time of the first quarter moon, we're in Gate 41 is where she's located at. Now, remember that a first quarter moon is the first time that the moon squares the sun in the monthly lunar cycle. What I want to remind us is how much emotional torque there is right here. I mean, this is where she's come out of the dark, heading towards that full moon. We're halfway to the full moon, the two luminaries and this dynamic square energy. This can be a very healthy time every lunar month to move something forward. There's a lot of energy, whatever that is, whether it's a work project, something in the relationship, part of your healing process. There is emotional lunar energy here, but also to be mindful, right, that everybody's feeling this. Right? So as we go into our interactions out in public, to know that everybody's being a little emotionally spiked with that plutonic energy right now, those emotional, watery feelings of limitations might be right on the surface. So if that happens, it's going to be a wonderful time to breathe in. I'm okay. We're okay. Let's talk about this and move forward from there. Now, the other significant thing that happens here on Wednesday is we can see that Mercury has just moved into the sign of Sagittarius, and in doing so has moved into gate 34 in the sacral center. This is the gate of pure, raw power. Now, because we still have the brainwave with Venus and Uranus in gate 57 and gate 20, we have several channels here from the integration field. We have 3420, channel of charisma, a design where thoughts must be deeds. This is the raw power of life force energy to stand up for what it believes in with charisma. It's a lot of energy. It also brings us the channel of power, a design of an archetype. Gate 34 over to Venus in gate 57. Mercury and Venus here. Now think about that. Mercury, Venus, Uranus, all in the integration field. It's about individuality, having intuitive awareness and the power and conviction to stand up with charisma and speak my authentic voice in the now. So if we've been working along with all this chironic energy, and let me add on to that, Jupiter is almost exactly still partile conjunct or square that Chiron, as I was mentioning, of that other T-square we just had with the moon, that square between Chiron and Jupiter, that's in effect all week. This is an expansive, possibly self-nourishing time to iron out the details, the pattern of health, well-being, and sustainability as it relates to our healing journey. So that's a lot to unpack there, but I hope it offers you some words and keynotes for your own journaling or self-contemplation of how that's playing out for you. And then also I want to point out on Wednesday, if we look at that Mercury in gate 34 is also exactly opposite that Uranus in gate 20. 3420 is one of the 3 channels in human design made of gates that are opposite. And so that's how we're getting that channel. But when we think about just the 2 of those, Uranus and Mercury, that can be like some shocking conversations. Now, as I've been sharing this and we're sort of building our vocabulary of the frequency of the week here, we've got a lot of emotional energy. We've got a lot of Jupiter, a lot of Pluto, a lot of Moon, a lot of Chiron. And here we have this Mercury square or opposite Uranus. This is where I'm indicating or sharing, I guess, encouraging, boy, really want to be self-nourished in order to have challenging emotional conversations with other people, wherever that is, workplace, personal, family, you name it. But it could also be, on the other end of that spectrum with Mercury and Uranus, it could be this flash of sudden, powerful intellect being shared, through the power, through the gate 34 and the gate 20 expression. This is who I am. Great time for expressing that. But of course, we want to be mindful of boundaries. What's me and what's them and what's the stream of water in between us? And how can we come together in communications and drink from the clean water and be both self-nourishing but supporting to the other person as well. So, that also, as you can see on the astrological wheel, we've got Venus is still involved in that sign of Libra. What was the other planet? I wanted to mention Mars. Mars also moving towards the final degrees of Scorpio in that gate 14. That's the gate called power skills. Again, it's an individual gate of self-empowerment. So a lot of energy where have I got energy right now? Do I feel empowered right now? And if not, let's find out what's holding me back, right? There is a lot of fear and anxiety in the world right now. There is no denying that. It's just, if you look out at the news too much, it's deflating to say the least. So never to discard the intense times of change and uncertainty that we're moving in, But regardless of that, or in spite or as a result of all that, what's that stimulating in me? Where is my power, my authenticity? What is my voice right now? And if there's things holding me back from that, what are they? Where are they? Let's address it. Man, we've got some great energy for that right now. That Jupiter is almost exactly trining Saturn, and then we'll trine Neptune again in that gate 25. So I think that particular gate, wonderful resource of contemplation right now. What expectations of our own making are preventing us from feeling relaxed, autonomous, having our own personal sovereignty and self-empowerment? Part of the message I see and what we're looking at as we round the bend on this first quarter moon. Then we'll go into Thursday. On Thursday, October 30th, Mercury makes its exact sextile to Pluto. So here we have Mercury in that gate 34 I was just talking about, still opposite Uranus in gate 20. Mercury sextile Pluto, Uranus trine Pluto. This is the channel of charisma and a very flowing, supportive communication with Pluto in the gate of limitations. Okay, I think, again, just as I'm saying that, we're feeling into, this is Pluto's final weeks here. I mentioned that in the gate of limitations, where what's holding us back here, it's the chart is really making me want to say that it's time to really address it. I think kicking the can down the road right now would be probably the worst thing we could do. So no matter how scary that dark cave looks sometimes, it might be the exact place we need to go, right? To really get in touch with the deep, deep inner core of our being, our authenticity. Man, what a beautiful formation there on Thursday for this continued growth and development. Just couldn't be a better time for anything in that direction, whether it's intimate conversations with our lovers, a therapist, a supportive book you've been meaning to read, really giving yourself some time and space, managing your emotional energy, building your voltage to withstand uncertainty, and grounding yourself in the authentic power of which you are. This is what the opportunity, I think, of these charts are showing us here. We can see by noon on Friday, the sun has moved in Scorpio into gate 44, and that puts the sun in its polarity opposition in gate 24. Now, gate 44 is also in the splenic awareness center. It's called the Gate of Alertness. It's part of the channel of surrender, a design of a transmitter. And this gate 44 is an alertness. It's an instinctual alertness to what will support the tribe. Who has the skill out there? Who's bringing that gate 26, this ego power, to transform and up-level health, wellness, financial stability into the future? And so again, another beautiful week for listening, even though we're all the way down to Friday now, this idea of listening to our body right now. Now, the earth grounding us in gate 24, the gate of rationalizing. This is the conceptualizing gate of the ajna center individually. So it's processing, what does inner truth mean? Well, we just had the moon there a couple days in gate 61. And now here we have the earth in this 24, and this could be a bit of ruminating about what is my truth, and we had that channel of struggle the other day. So we might be ruminating about, what is my purpose? Where do I bring my gifts right now? Wow. If that's what you're feeling right now, if that's what you're thinking, again, I feel like you're right on track with what the transit field is offering us in support of our awareness, is using all this watery, this liminal world we may feel we are in right now to go inward, to take out the trash in the garden of our soul, do some weeding there to find that sense of empowerment. Can be deeply transformative, I think, for sure right now. The moon also moves into Pisces as of Friday. Now, when the moon travels through the sign of Pisces, remember that the moon will be going through every single gate in the solar plexus center except for gate 6. Gate 6 is over in Virgo. However, the moon will go through gate 36 where Saturn is over the next couple days, and that sort of drags in gate 6, right? Because you're also getting the polarity of all the activations. But I just want to highlight again all this water I've been talking about. Here for the next 2.5 days, the moon traveling through all the solar plexus gates will conjunct the nodes, Saturn and Neptune, over the next 2.5 days. So again, we're having a lot of the watery emotional frequency as we head towards the next full moon. Okay, let's take it to Saturday, November 1st. Now, what we can see here, I have been talking about Chiron and Jupiter in that square, which is still happening. Well, now Venus still traveling through Libra now in gate 32 is forming a T-square. So we have Venus, Chiron opposite, both of them in a T-square to that Jupiter. So Venus in gate 32. Now we had the sun here a week and a half ago, and so now we're getting Venus in gate 32 opposite Chiron in gate 42. So this gate 32, another splenic awareness gate that understands value. It's the gate of continuity and duration. What do we keep from the past that will make our family and tribe stronger in the future, or what do we discard? So it's it's an archetype very much focused on valuation. And so Venus here in her home sign, understanding values, understanding balance, fairness, justice, opposite Chiron and growth. Again, we have an incredibly dynamic energy to let go of the past. That particular pattern of behavior is no longer supporting me. I'm going to cut it out, whatever that means. Hopefully with a more water element modality than cutting it out, but you get the idea. That T-square is going to be with us here Saturday, Sunday, even into early next week, while that moon is, as you can see, on Saturday, exactly conjunct the nodal axis. Now, what I think is really important here on Saturday, this is the last conjunction the moon's going to have with the nodes in these gates the nodes are in, because on November 3rd, just 2 days from this Saturday chart, the nodes are going to shift, and they always move retrograde. And so they're going to leave gates 22 and 47 and move into North Node Gate 63, South Node Gate 64. So this is the final lunar moon emotional connection to the nodal axis, and the North Node being that gate 22 in the solar plexus, the gate of grace, individual, self-empowered, creative, emotional expression. That is a lot of emotional energy. I don't know how many times I've said that this video. We're almost done, though. Just can't help but highlight, just sort of taking in the themes of the 2247. Gate 47, the gate of realizing, South Node, realizing stuff from the past, how that's impacting me, what decisions did I make based on my current state of affairs back then, and how am I moving into the future with the North Node into a more self-empowered, graceful, emotional expression of creativity. Definitely on tap for Saturday with that last conjunction. And then shortly after that, the moon will make the conjunction with Saturn in gate 36 and Neptune in gate 25. All right, so let's go ahead and move into our final day on Sunday, November 2nd. Not a lot of significant changes yet from Saturday. I still feel like this weekend, we can really, as you're looking at the astrological wheel now, you can still see that T-square, Venus, Jupiter, Chiron. Beautiful weekend for, just taking some time for yourself. That lunar energy is building. We're going to have a full moon on November 5th in Taurus. So for our Taurans, this full moon will be for you. So I can't say how much emotional energy the chart is indicating, but by Sunday, the moon will have moved into Aries. Okay, so we'll get a little bit of a different frequency from that. You can see we still have the channel of charisma. Really, I think thinking about power, individuality, authenticity, where can we refine that right now? Going all the way back to the new moon, With that new moon in Libra, it's about finding that internal harmony and external harmony. My personal boundaries and how they meet up against the other person's boundaries, and how are we tending to the river between us, keeping the water clean, healthy, flowing, communicating honestly with our emotions, not out of anger and reactivity, but with reason, empathy, concern for the other, effective communication. And I think with with a mindset like that, boy, there's some real progress. As we build to the full moon here, tremendous opportunity for growth and development. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you do get support out of these, please like, subscribe, shoot me a comment. Really appreciate the opportunity to grow our community here at emergebydesign.net. And I wish you all a wonderful, healthy, safe week. Thank you, and bye for now.